Hey guys, Smith City here for Smith City Product Reviews. This is a very controversial review straight off the bat, not necessarily the beer. Geezer pleaser. Obviously, this is an extra special bitter, but I'm going to give my opinion first on the Harry, Meghan, Queen, Royal, Oprah saga that's been going on the last little while, and just some observations and opinions I've had on certain things on social media and that sort of stuff. And so firstly, like, the mental health of people is quite important to me. Like, obviously I'm a personal trainer and I deal in the mental health space a lot in that, but then also in the past with my youth work stuff, working in residential care and working in a youth rehab and that sort of stuff. And so my whole life I've sort of worked in the space of people's well-being and that sort of stuff. And so I'm not necessarily going to talk too much about, Harry and Meghan moving away from the royal family, but I will say there must have been some pretty big, serious reasons as to why that was the case. You don't just disband. Trying to find the right words here. Trying to disband away from the royal family unless there's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes that we're not even really privy to, and that we probably won't ever really know the ins and outs of everything that's going on. And so with that, if you're pregnant, okay, now I'm in a position where I want to be a dad, and if eventually I have the ability to do so, I'd absolutely hate and despise I really want to swear here, other parties hijacking that based on their own backward views. Now, I'm not too sure who has come out and said racist or hurtful comments to Meghan about the colour of their child and that sort of stuff. And look, it's not on. It's not on. Even if it was just more of a query, like it's not even something that you should even query, because it's irrelevant. Your daughter-in-law or someone from your extended family should be supportive of the fact that you're actually having a child, and it's probably it's your first ever child, and then to have your first ever child experience and your first ever pregnancy to be hijacked by people in massive power that can or will try to take standover tactics and try to silence you to keep you quiet so you're not rocking the boat or ruining a public image. And so that leads me to my next thing with this, is that obviously they've got out of their royal duties, and you just don't know what else is going on behind the scenes with them doing that, and what messages might be taking place, or what phone calls might be taking place, or what letters might be taking place in terms of what they're receiving, and the messages within that, and how they are actually articulated with those messages, and what tone of voice is within those messages. And so I have no problem with Meghan and Harry going to see Oprah. No problem whatsoever. If you feel so silenced and you feel so to the point where you actually feel like taking your own life, but you then get put in a position of power to actually do the exact opposite of being silenced, regardless of what money is going on behind the scenes and how much they got paid for that particular interview. Yes, she could have said, I don't want any money for this, I just want to tell my story. But end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Money's money at the end of the day. So if Oprah's team and the networks wanted to pay them, well then fantastic. I don't personally believe that someone will come out of that situation just to make money when they're already worth a lot of money. So I want to keep that in perspective, is that the interview wasn't designed by Harry and Meghan to be making bucket loads of money. You just don't do that to rock the boat. Especially when they probably have moved away from the royal family in a manner that's probably took time to orchestrate and get it away as smoothly as possible without it blowing up all over to English tabloids and all over the world news and that sort of stuff. But I want to say two things. Good on her. Good on her for actually speaking up and talking about, one, her mental health, two, how she was made to feel about certain situations and certain things that went on behind the scenes. Good on her. Good on her. We live in a world where, we want women's rights, and we want women to speak up and to talk about abuse, whether it be emotionally, physically, spiritually, sexually, or whatever. And then quite often when these things happen, people have opinions, and it's almost, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not allowed to have emotions and feelings because you earn a lot of money. She should just be quiet and be silenced because she earns a lot of money. So her feelings outside of that shouldn't matter. And that is just an absolute load of crap. It is an absolute load of crap. Because I'd argue to say this, that if anyone that is watching these videos, or anyone that I know on my friends list on Facebook and that sort of stuff, is that regardless of if somehow your business took off and you started making shitloads of money, you're still a person at the end of the day, and you still have feelings, and you still have thoughts, and people can still try to make your life a living hell, or run over the top of you, or gaslight you, or stonewall you, or manipulate you, or whatever. Like, no amount of money changes that. And so, obviously this is my opinion, and it might ruffle some people up, whether people jump on board this and actually watch it and go back and forth in the comment section, which is not exactly why I did it, but I've just been watching and seeing too much stuff unfold all over social media, where I just sit and I just scratch my head sometimes at how people interact and behave, and it just sort of frustrates me in a sense that you've got someone who has felt so emotionally and spiritually abused in a way where she's been silenced, and then she speaks up and she's not allowed to be heard because she's got money. Now, think of the other scenario. She feels silenced. She continues to be silenced. Harry's trying to do the best he can to support her as her husband, and she ends up off on herself. I could almost guarantee you, every single person who's saying that she should be quiet because she's got money, and she ended up topping herself, I can almost guarantee you, every single one of these people that have been like that all over social media would be like, oh, she should have spoken up, and oh my God, this is such a tragic event, and blah, 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 blah. And just society needs to change. Society needs to change with culture, with sexuality, with preferences, with everything. There's way too much conflict in the world, and there's a lot of hate in the world, and it sort of just infuriates me on a personal level. I knew I was going to speak very long about this whole situation, and I think I've done pretty well to keep it to 10 minutes. So that's just my take on it, and I hope these guys at Little Bang Brewing Company have in mind that I've used their beer in that manner, and hopefully this beer is a cracking beer. So I'll get it into a glass, guys. It's Geezer Pleaser in a 375ml can, 4.8% ABV. It's got obviously the British flag on there. Get it into a glass. And lastly, hopefully I don't get assassinated for saying this. There's a great lyric by my favourite band, the Arctic Monkeys, what came first, the chicken or the dickhead? And I think that applies here. I think it really does apply here because, you know, you'd think something drastic would have had to have happened for two people, Harry and his new wife, to actually leg it out of there. You'd have to think that something has happened on a major scale for them to do that. You just don't do that on a whim. Now, I'm not calling the royal family dickheads, so let's just get that clear. But, you know, what came first? A scenario that created them to move away from that and start creating their own life away from almost like a lock on what you can do, what you can't do, what you can say, what people are allowed to say to you and get away with it because of their title. Yeah, anyway, it had a one finger head. It's now gone down. Great levels of carbonation there. It's quite a dark amber colour. Get into the aroma, guys. Smells like a bitter. It's got some biscuit notes to it, some bready notes to it. Smells good. I'm going to dive in, get into my pelican-like mouth. That's really good. So those biscuity bready notes I'm talking about are quite dialed back. It's very smooth on the back palate. And at 4.8%, this is something on a hot day. It is raining out here, and this could be colder. I chucked it in the freezer for a moment. It's been sitting in my beer cartel pack. Could be a touch colder. It's not too bad. It's not warm. There's the carbonation bubbles there. So I don't really want to compare these two beers because they're not really on par, but there are some characteristics that are the same. And so you've got the Hargrave Hills Extra Special Bitter, and that's a cracking beer. That's more sort of on the darker side where you do have like some coffee and chocolate notes to it, but also there's elements of like bready, like a breadiness to it. And like a biscuit breadiness to it. And so this is kind of like it's dialed back, brother. Just not really like with any like coffee or chocolate characteristics. But there are some of those biscuity, bready notes there. which sort of comes in waves as you're drinking it. Sometimes it's on the front palate and then sometimes it's on the back palate. So, Little Bang beer, and it says like the R's in a diamond there, and it says 18 plus. It's certified independent. Where's Little Bang Brewing Company situated at? 25 Henry Street, Stepney, South Australia. www.littlebang.com.au. I dare say they would have social media, so hopefully they do, so I can send this rant and rave about the Royals to them. I'll read off the can. Here's a beer to please a geezer. It's Geezer Pleaser. She's extra special, an extra special British bitter. Never better than together with a pie and chips. Or even better, fish in batter. A greasy appetizer, fit for the likes of Julius Caesar. She's a breezy, easy cleanser. This here pleaser, most agreeable in her sweet demeanour. Hopefully that's enough to tease ya. She's a geezer, he's a geezer. Here's a beer that's sure to please ya. That's actually a really clever write-up, guys. I'm quite happy with that. Now, packaging, I love. If it didn't come in my pack and I saw this at a bottle-o with the whole royal stuff, I definitely would have picked it up for the same sort of video. But if I had picked it up regardless of that going on, that little write-up there would have been enough to just hook me in to buy it. And it definitely is. This would be something really good with like a pub meal or a pie and chips or fish and chips. This is it. And another thing, guys, before I go, is if you are someone that drinks like VB and that sort of stuff, this would be a good replacement. Obviously, it's certified independent. It is an Australian beer. So if the thought of Asahi buying CUB and it changes the product that you know and love, this is a good replacement. And before the VB beer drinkers going, biscuity and bready and blah, 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 oh my God, and their head explode, go watch my VB review and understand that the VB also has some fruit notes to it. So that's where you got to sort of open your mind a little bit and understand that the beer that you drink is made with hops and it's made with malt, and it's different characteristics of different hops and different malts are going to make different characteristics within the beer. But if you're mindlessly drinking something like a VB, you're probably not sitting there going, oh, that's what I'm experiencing, or that's what I'm experiencing. You're just trying to get a beer down you as quickly as possible, which is totally fine to do. But if you did that with this, as opposed to going, it's a craft beer, and you actually just treated this in the same respect as you do with your stock standard generic beers, is you probably wouldn't even know that it was biscuity and bready. You just actually enjoy it for being an extra bitter. So I've gone on 2 rants there, the Royals and generic VB drinkers, all in a 20-minute video. Yeah, I rated that, guys. I really did. Packaging spot on. Drinkability is spot on. I'd happily take them away with me somewhere and just drink bulk of them. Like, this is one where you could probably, if you're going to go away and you had the ability to drink, like, say, 20, this would be one where you could probably do that. So on that front, it's actually really good. Rating wise, it's definitely better than a VB, which I rated a 7, a 5. I rated a 5 without all its positive attachments that it's had in my life of like social events and grand final wins and all that sort of stuff, like I spoke about in that video. But like a 7 with all of those attached to it. I'm just trying to work out a respectable rating for this beer, because I don't think it's a 10. I'm gonna give it a solid 9. It is really good. Easily could smash heaps of them at any given moment. So, to be honest, I might have to get some more of these at some point, because they're actually really good. I'd never said this. It was 1.4 standard drinks, and there it is. So rating for a 9. Please comment and feel free to go back and forth in the comment section if you agree or disagree with my take on the royal stuff. Look, if there's anything nasty on there, well then I'm going to do my best to, remove or get rid of that, because I haven't necessarily attacked the royal family as such. So I don't want people that have the opposite view to me start to like rip into Meghan in the comment section, or Harry or whatever. So obviously I do want engagement, but keep it as civilized as possible. And if things are getting out of hand in there, well then it's up to me to actually make sure that no one's copying abuse or being affected by trolls. So that's it from me, guys. It's a 9, and what a cracking beer that is. And hopefully my rant hit home on a few points. But just because you got money doesn't mean you're immune from having feelings. Just because you've got money doesn't mean you're a robot with no emotions or cognitive functions. You're a human. You're a human. It's as simple as that. If all of a sudden my PT business takes off, or somehow this beer review channel takes off and I can monetize videos and stuff like that, just because I get money, just because I start making some money or start making a name for myself through those two things, doesn't give the right for my mum to act a certain way and for me to just cop it. It doesn't mean that my partner can act a certain way and I just cop it. It doesn't mean that friends can start treating me differently, and I just have to sit there and cop it. You just don't. You just don't. And if you ask someone, if you ask someone that is watching this, whether it be 2021 or 2041, and you ask someone that does feel like they are being silenced, or that you're not feeling heard and you are emotionally affected and stuff like that, feel free to either comment something on this video, or if you feel like by doing so you might get backlash from other people that are commenting with their negative views and opinions, please do reach out to me in my inbox with SmitFit PT, or also my Smith City product review stuff, because sometimes when you feel like nothing can change the way you're feeling, just to know someone's in your corner can help a lot. So I'll leave it there, guys. I might leave a couple of other links in the description for people that are struggling with their mental health and stuff like that, like support numbers and that sort of stuff. So if anyone's watching this in the future and they are struggling, there'll be some helpful links in there for you guys. So that's it for me from Smith City Product Reviews, and I'll catch you on the next. Cheers, guys.